There are venues that host music, and then there are venues that make music history. Max's Kansas City, located at 213 Park Avenue South in New York City, was the latter, a gritty, glamorous crossroads where artists, rock stars, poets, and provocateurs gathered not just to perform, but to collide. Opened in 1965 by Mickey Ruskin, Max's quickly became a mecca for counterculture, a melting pot of rebellion and innovation that shaped the DNA of rock and roll forever. By day, Max's looked like a modest restaurant and bar. But by night, it transformed into a hub of avant-garde energy, fusing Andy Warhol's factory crowd with the emerging rock scene. Warhol practically held court in the back room, surrounded by superstars, drag queens, and downtown misfits. At Max's, the boundaries between performance and personality, fame and infamy, blurred into glitter-dusted oblivion. Musically, Max's was a launch pad. Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground made it their home after parting ways with Warhol. David Bowie hung out there during his early U.S. visits, absorbing the scene's decadent swagger. Iggy Pop, Alice Cooper, and the New York Dolls used the club as both a playground and a stage. For glam rock, Max's was the church, altar, and confession booth all in one. And then came punk. In the mid to late 70s, after the temporary closure and reopening of the venue, Max's Kansas City was reborn as a breeding ground for punk rock and new wave. It became the rival to CBGB in showcasing the raw, the loud, and the feral. Blondie, Television, Patti Smith, and Suicide all passed through its doors. The Ramones played Max's, as did Sid Vicious in his infamous final performances after the death of Nancy Spungen. The club didn't just showcase chaos, it often hosted it. But Max's wasn't only about the music, it was about the scene. The audience was often as fascinating as the performers. Artists like Robert Mapplethorpe, writers like William S. Burroughs, and fashion icons like Betsy Johnson all found sanctuary in its chaotic corners. It was where high art met low life, where downtown grit flirted with uptown ambition. Despite its cultural significance, Max's Kansas City couldn't escape the financial and societal pressures that eventually shut down so many of New York's iconic venues. It officially closed in 1981. By then, the New York scene had started shifting, but the influence of Max's remained baked into every club, dive, and dingy rehearsal space that followed. What makes Max's Kansas City so legendary is not just the names who passed through its doors. It's the energy it captured. It wasn't polished. It wasn't curated. It was messy, unpredictable, and real. It was a place where Patti Smith could recite poetry one night, and the Heartbreakers could set their amps on fire the next. It was music history happening in real time, under red neon lights and the scent of stale beer and cigarette smoke. Max's Kansas City may be closed, but its spirit still pulses through the veins of New York's music legacy. It was a temple of cool, an unfiltered mirror of its time, and a sanctuary for the weird, the wild, and the world-changing. In its chaos, Max's became immortal.